Huge changes are coming to the Rise of Kingdoms ranged formation and siege units. You're not going to want to miss this. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Today we are going to be breaking down some of the new updates that are coming to Rise of Kingdoms, covering primarily the V formation or ranged formation, the engineering changes. You know, I said engineering, not siege, and what this means for the average player. So, for a long time, people have joked about the fact that siege units are not viable in Rise of Kingdoms, and if you're fielding them, you probably shouldn't be. But with these most recent updates, there's a lot of potential change coming. So first things first, they're changing the siege unit type to the engineering talent. And what this means is that commanders with engineering talent excel at leading siege units and switching their troops to attack and range mode. Yes, you heard me properly. Leading siege units into the field. So this is going to completely shake up how people play the game, I expect. When the V formation is used, only commanders with engineering can use active skills, which means that you're going to be dealing a lot more damage with those engineering commanders when you have V formation than pretty much anyone else. Now, the two first commanders that are coming with this new engineering skill and talents are going to be Babur and Margaret. And they may shake things up. I don't know if you guys saw the release video that Rise of Kingdoms did where they covered some of the skills of these commanders, but I don't believe that those skills were accurate. They didn't look right, especially not the active skill damage. So stay tuned for that. I will be dropping a video on those skills once they are fully released. If you haven't already, do hit that subscribe button right over there, bottom right-hand corner, so you see when I release that video. Now, ranged formation. When the ranged formation first was released, there was a lot of excitement about it. There was a lot of buzz about it. But the main issue with this formation was that you could not deal skill damage and give severely wounded to units. Well, they've now changed that. So with the engineering talent, you can deal skill damage with those units. And with this brand new update, which I will read to you, they've adjusted the damage of ranged attacks and the counterattack damage taken by ranged units. When troops launch ranged attacks against the target troop in range mode, it will severely wound units. You heard that right. Ranged attack is going to start severely wounding units, which means that there is the potential for someone with an engineering commander to launch a ranged attack with siege, might I add, and deal severely wounded units to someone who's running a perfectly strong cavalry, infantry, and archer march, which is a major change to the game. And that said, that march will take counterattack damage, but realistically, that's nothing of substance when you compare it to the skill damage and the range damage that is being dealt. So this is a really big deal. Severely wounded units from a ranged attack is pretty substantial. And the fact that they're now making siege units viable in-game is a big deal for a couple reasons. So first things first, they're adding equipment for these commanders. I will check and see if we have that available right now. If not, I'll post pictures on my community page so you can check that out as well. But the main reason why this is exciting is because if you've been pulling armaments, then you know 8 out of 10 of those armaments, you're getting great stuff for siege units. For example, this is an arch formation one, but I've got armored, siege unit health, siege unit attack, siege unit defense. You can get these for V formation too. And what this means is there's the potential that once they roll out these commanders, your best armaments may actually work on those commanders. So it could be a fairly low budget way to get into this. So as you can see, V formation, siege unit attack, defense, health. These armaments may actually be useful. So if I were you, I wouldn't scrap them just yet. We'll have to see what happens when these new commanders come out, but these armaments are going to make a difference. The other thing that's going to be interesting is if we take a look at the equipment, let's see if it's in here yet. Ooh. Yes, if we take a look at the equipment that they've released, they now have new epic equipment, which ups your siege unit attack. And with some of the gathering equipment that's already here, you can actually build a fairly formidable siege setup with these equipments. So what this is meaning is we may actually see Siege in the field, which blows my mind. I've been playing Rise of Kingdoms for 4.5 years, and or almost 4 years, and I never ever thought that we were going to see Siege in the field. Now, let's talk about who this is going to be valuable for, because I think it's really important that we address that up front. For those people that do not have 5 substantial marches, so, let's say you only have 3 marches that you're good with throwing into combat. Nevsky, Joan, Boudica YSG, and Sargon Scipio, for example. The 4th march that you have can now be a ranged commander that you had set up in an instance in which the terrain makes sense. So what does that mean? In this last battle that we had, this river became extremely important because you have to find the bridge in order to cross it. And so if you were to set up a ranged unit right here, all of these targets over here would be taking severely wounded from this ranged unit, and they cannot attack it. And that's really where ranged units are going to become extraordinarily useful. It's predominantly in those instances where you're at a place where the enemy cannot touch you. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out once these new commanders are released. I'm expecting that if you are a low spender and you only have enough resources to fund 3 main marches or 4 main marches, then your 5th or 4th march may make sense to have a ranged combat. That said, don't do any investments just yet. If I were you, I would save up and let's see how this actually shakes out. Now, the last thing that I will address that does give me some pause, and I know there's been a lot of curiosity around this, is this 3rd bullet here. When troops perform ranged attacks, they will still receive ranged points if they're in a battle scene where they can only slightly wound units. This is confusing because initially they say, oh, ranged attacks now deal severely wounded. But now we have this section here where they can only deal slightly wounded units. Here is my expectation. When you camp a unit in a ranged formation, you can choose to target a particular march. My expectation is that that march that you choose to target, and by choose I mean you click and then you say attack, like you would a barb, that target will take severely wounded. Now, my expectation is that there's also the automated functionality, where if you're in ranged formation and you have War Frenzy, that ranged formation will just attack anything that comes within your radius. My expectation is that is going to be slightly wounded, not severely wounded. But I could be wrong. We'll have to see what happens. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm kind of excited to see how this changes the game. I think it's going to be really neat to see how engineering shakes out, but let me know. What do you guys think? If you haven't already, do hit that subscribe button right over there, bottom right-hand corner, and hit the bell so you get notified when new episodes come out. Thank you. Shappy out.